Well, here you are. You've made a career of it now because you are the yoga soldier. So how long after leaving the army then did you decide yoga was what you needed to do as your profession?
It wasn't long when I moved to Minehead. I met a chap who was the British Whale of yoga. He was the chairman up until, I think, was it last year or the year before? I think he served for 2 years. Great guy. And he did an Ashtanga class, which is quite a physical form of yoga. It kind of follows a series of postures. And you kind of stay to those postures and keep working on them until you move on. Very fit type of yoga. Some people might find it a bit regimented. That's probably what suited me best. I just liked the fact that it was similar to what we did the week before. I got to know it. It really instilled in my mind, which I suppose is a bit military-like. And I did it with him for 10 years.
Oh.
10 years in Minehead before he decided to move away. And then I started doing another class with a friend, and then I kind of left it for about 4 years. When Paul moved off, I think I just did stuff in the house. I just did my own thing. And one time I went to another friend's class. She's called Ange Newbold, who teaches in Porlock, Aliford, another great British Wheel of Yoga teacher. She said, why don't you become a teacher? You've done it for most of your life. There's no male teachers around here. Why don't you become a teacher? So I think she planted the seed.
Once it's there, you start thinking about it, don't you?
Once it was there, that was it. I thought I'll go and start the teacher training for it.
Yeah.
So I did.
What brought you to Minehead in the first place?
My parents.
Right.
So my dad was born in Minehead, brought up in Watchet, and I think they tried to hide from us when we all moved away. We found them. They moved to Minehead. I think it was 91, so probably halfway through my service. And I'd come home and leave, which no longer was to Glasgow, was to Somerset. And I came out as a single soldier, no fixed abode, if you like, no property of my own, so went back to mum and dad.
Well, it makes sense now. So you've got Somerset blood in you. You've got a Scottish accent, which is lovely, but it's you've got Somerset blood in there as well.
Kind of softens the Glaswegian in me a bit.
So half Glaswegian, half Minehead, which is a lovely mix. Okay, so you're in Minehead, and then you started this training. How long does that take before is there some kind of qualification you have to have before you can officially teach it?
You can't. The British Wheel of Yoga it's kind of the primary organisation within the UK. Other organisations would probably say there are others. There's Yoga Alliance, there's Bihar training, which is a different one. But British Wheel of Yoga tends to be what I would say was the governing body within the UK for yoga teacher training, in my opinion. It's a really, really in-depth course. Normally you would have to do a foundation course, which would be about 6 months, I think it is, which I did in Bristol before being accepted onto one of their courses. And if you go up to diploma level, it's actually 500 hours a contractor. So it's a 4-year course. It's a really long
it's like a
course.
University degree.
It is a long course. It's really in depth. Yeah. In my opinion, I think there's no better training for yoga in the UK. But then I haven't done any other training, so that probably I'm just being a bit biased. But I've enjoyed it, and I think it's been really good to learn through the British Wheel.
Fantastic. We're with David Browning, who is the yoga soldier. We're going to take a quick break. We'll play some music. We'll be back with David, finding out a bit more about the classes that he runs. I know you work with children and older, don't you? So we'll find out a bit more about that.
Tiny ones up to the 80-year-olds.
A big range. We'll find out more from David here on BBC Somerset very shortly.
Charlie Taylor.
BBC Somerset.